Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing Lori Vella from LoriVella.com. Lori, we're going to talk about her background because she is a bi-state transplant. So she's got some connections to our neck of the woods. Lori, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Thank you as well to Robert Lehman, the financial advisor who connected us. Lori, you are an estate planner, correct? An attorney?
Correct. Yes, I am.
All right. So let's go back in time a little bit. What inspired you to become an attorney in the first place?
Oh, wow. Let's see. I guess I was one of those kids that was always told, you should be an attorney. You argue a lot. And so I heard that a lot throughout my life. And, it was kind of, my father's a farmer from Sicily. And, my mother didn't go to college. She was a court stenographer. And it was kind of like I was the last child. I was the last push. If we want a lawyer in the family, it's going to be this girl right here.
That's incredible. And then you went to law school up in our neck of the woods at the University in Rochester, correct?
I went to undergrad, University of Rochester, and then I did law school, Albany Law School of Union University. So I was up there the entire time up in New York. And as you can imagine, I started to get cold. And so somehow I had to get down here. And so my last year of law school, I was a visiting student at Stetson in Gulfport. And I've been down here ever since.
I was going to ask how you transplanted to Florida, but that makes sense. Legal disclaimer for those of you watching or listening, Lori is an attorney in the states of Florida and New York. So if you are not in one of those states, you want to seek counsel in the state that you are in, and we are not giving any legal advice on today's show. So how did you could have picked any specialty, any area of law you wanted. How did you arrive at the estate planning niche?
Well, I always liked it in law school. That was sort of my minor. So, you don't really have minors in law school, but that's what I took a lot of classes in. But you know what? I didn't do it the majority of my career. I was doing insurance defense. And so that's a really hard technical area of law. I was doing hurricane claims and fraud and all of that. And then at one point, I don't know if you know this, I quit. I was finished and I retired as a lawyer. And that was right after I had my son. I had my son later in life. I had him when I was 40. And, there's something that happens when you're like rocking a baby at 2 a.m. and you start thinking, all these fears start coming into your head. Like, what's going to happen with this baby? What's going to happen with the child? If I'm not here, I got to be healthy. And so then I started thinking, do I put something in place? So if there's an emergency that someone can raise him, someone can step in, what do I do? And it was all these thoughts that was coming into my mind. And at the same time, I started, being like, have a mom friends, when you have a child, you have a whole new sort of friends that come. And I started talking to them, like, what's your plan? And no one had a plan. And so what I started to do is go to the law library. And I went every single weekend and I started learning as much as I can and saying, like, this is what I'm interested in. People always say, follow your passion and the money will follow. I never believed that in a million years because I was never doing work I was really passionate about. But when it came for something like this and it was dealing with my own child and how I protect him, that's how I got into estate planning. And it's just been like this whirlwind ever since.
Well, congratulations on that. The longer version of that journey, if it's not in a book somewhere, probably should be. So what does estate planning mean to you? If someone meets you in a networking event, in an elevator, at a mom group, wherever, and says, what do you do? I'm an estate planning attorney. And they say, what is that? What does that mean? How do you answer that question?
Well, it depends. It's different for every person. I'm not one of those people that can have any kind of like script or anything like that. I look to who I'm talking to. And so, if it's a mom, I'm like, estate planning is love. It's the greatest act of love you can give to your children, to make sure we have people financially protecting them and protecting them, their custody of them. Like who's going to be taking care of them? If I'm talking to an older person, it's like probate avoidance is huge. We want to make sure we avoid probate for our family, because I'm also a probate attorney. And let me tell you, the children of the people that are dealing with probate for their deceased parents, they're having heart issues, they're having depression, they're having like sleeplessness, and it's happening because it's so hard to deal with this. So basically, estate planning is love. Is that canned? Yes. Does it sound ridiculous? In some ways it does, but that's what it is. Estate planning is saying, there's something I don't want to do. It's almost like exercising. I don't want to do this. I know I need to do it. So what do? I do a little bit each day to get organized, because the end result is going to be my loved ones know I set up a legacy for them. And it's not for rich people. It's not for millionaires. When you think of estate, don't think of, I need this big house, I need this mansion. Think of the estate as my kids. It's my family members. It's my house. It's my legacy. It's how I want people to remember me. Do you want them to remember you as someone that's like, oh my God, why didn't my parents put this together for me? This is so much work. It's killing me. Or do you want to remember as, God, my father really did a great job of putting this together, and now I don't have any work to do. So, and that's what estate planning is. And that's why people don't come to me at a cocktail party to ask me this, because I'll talk their ear off for the next half hour.
Awesome. Well, we'll take as much time as we have. Now, the funny thing is, I've interviewed over the last decade, hundreds of attorneys, and probably a few, at least a dozen in the same specialty. I have not heard one person define it as love. I think that is absolutely beautiful. I think the way you described it is the best definition I've ever heard. And I would absolutely use that at a cocktail party.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, what are some of the biggest mistakes clients make when it comes to planning their estates? What are they doing wrong that you can help them with?
Well, one thing that, we have a competitor out there, and we have these websites that make it really easy to get legal documents. So people always say, are those documents legal? And the answer is, yeah, they're legal. But then we have to go to the next step. What's the purpose of having a certain document like a power of attorney if it's not expansive enough? So what happens is someone will give me a document they got for $25 off the internet, and it's going to be very bare bones. And they're going to say, I have this document for my mother. She has advanced Alzheimer's. She can't sign another document. I need this to avoid a guardianship. And I'm going to look at this document and say, it gives you no powers whatsoever. That's the biggest mistake people make. There's nothing wrong with trying to get legal services for a discount. That's fine. But you have to remember, discount means something. Something has to give somewhere. It's like, you get these products. Oh, they don't have sugar. Yeah, it doesn't have sugar, but it has something else in there that's making it taste sweet. And maybe it's worse than sugar. So the number one thing you have to do is make sure you have a durable power of attorney that is very robust. That's the word. It's not just estate planning level. If you're over 50, you need an elder law document as well. That's going to make sure your family truly protects you. So number one thing, get a really good power of attorney.
All right. Number one, get a really good durable power of attorney.
Shall I go on? Yeah.
Yes, please.
All right. Number two, the next thing you have to do is make sure all your beneficiary designations are set up. So you're going to want to go to your bank account and say, I want a payable on death provision for every single account, because you want those accounts to go directly to the person and avoid people like me. You don't want it to go through a probate attorney. You don't want it to go through your will. You want it to go directly to that person. If your bank says, I can't do a payable on death provision, close the account and get another bank. So the number two thing you have to do is make sure you avoid probate the best that you can. You're going to do that by having beneficiary designations on your IRAs, your mutual funds, your stocks, your bank accounts. Your home has to have some sort of deed to make sure it's going directly to someone else. Now, there's a caveat. None of this applies if you have little kids. because if you have little kids, kids can't inherit property over $15,000. So we need some sort of trust mechanism or guardian account for them. And we're going to have to deal with those as a different way.
Why do you think so many people don't plan when it comes to their estate? You would know the statistic better than me, but I think it's well over half of the people in the United States died without even a simple will.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason we don't eat healthy, even though we know what to do, and we don't work out, even though we know what to do. You have to look at it the same way. Can be an annoyance, right? Think about all these home organizers that are here. We know how to organize our home, but we need to hire someone to come in and do it for us. And that's who I am. I'm your home edit. I'm your home organizer. I'm going to come make it easy for you. You know, I used to be a fitness coach, and I apply a lot of those same principles because I know my clients want it, but something they need to feel it. And so when you talk to people, you have to think, what's the harm if I don't do it? It's just like, what if I don't exercise? Okay, you're going to get high blood pressure, you're going to get diabetes, all these things are going to happen. You're going to be overweight, you're not going to feel great. What if I don't do estate planning? You're going to have an expensive probate. By the way, we make our money in probate. Probates can be $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. You can avoid expensive probate. You're going to avoid the wrong person coming in and being guardian of your child. You're going to avoid people looking in the court records to see that your child has had an inheritance and befriending them. So you have to sort of think of the evils, and people don't do it because they're busy living life. You know, life needs to be lived. And so what I want my clients to do is do a little bit of the tough stuff. It's tough love, it's tough parenting, whatever you want to call it. You call me up, you get it done. And I know it's annoying for you, so I'm going to make it fun. Believe it or not, I can be somewhat funny. We can have a good time. When we do our celebrations, our signing celebrations, it's not some boring thing when you're coming to a law office and we're signing these boring documents. We're having fun. We are popping champagne. We are serving cake. We are taking fun pictures because I want people to be joyous about what they're doing because it is love. And when we're finished with it, we pour champagne, we make a toast to our clients and say, you've done something incredible for yourself, for your family. So your parents or your siblings don't have to decide to pull the plug or do anything like that. You've done something incredible. And now let's make a toast to the rest of your life. And I want you to go out, live, be happy, travel, and spend that money, because too much money is going to extended relatives. You need to live life and, spend that money, save for your retirement, whatever you need to do. But that's why, it's not as hard as you think. It's one of those annoyances you kind of have to face,
I love that you've created, first time I've ever heard that. I love that you've created a better client experience. I love that you're celebrating that it's done and accomplished. I love that you're reinforcing that positively. Obviously, principles you learn from being a fitness coach, right? You got to reward the behavior you want to repeat. That is absolutely fantastic. I love that you bring your personality into it. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I like someone coming in and, they have that worried look in their eyes, and often my clients are crying, they're embarrassed that they're crying. They're embarrassed that they haven't saved enough. They're embarrassed to show me their finances, and none of that matters. It doesn't matter because your life is more than what's in your bank account. You know what I mean? Your life is making sure I'm setting up something for my family. So if I could take someone that is a mom who has a baby and they're just scared, they don't know what to do, and I'm just going to set things up and I'm going to tell them things they haven't thought about, and we're going to do a complete plan. I don't just do something and give it to you and say, bye. Like, I have these things I've just created now. These are wallet cards, because it's like, if I have a babysitter taking my kid somewhere and she gets in an accident, the cops aren't going to know who those kids are. And so my job is to think of everything. And one more thing, gotta tell you, my favorite part is probates, because when someone has experienced a loss and they're there and their parent has died and they're alone and they're lost, I'm going to help them. And it's like taking their hand and saying, let's go together. And we help them so much. We establish these warm relationships, and it keeps me going. It's amazing.
I love the energy you are bringing to a topic that people put off or try and avoid because they don't want to think about their own mortality. I love that you are thinking of everything. That's brilliant. For example, my attorney up here had the smarts to make a wallet card, but the
Yeah.
wallet card was just telling in case of an emergency who's my lawyer and where my estate documents are. However, I never thought about the babysitter, the grandparents, the in-laws, everyone else who takes the carpool, everyone else who takes my kid around. That is an absolutely brilliant idea. We will definitely have you back because you're bringing energy and ideas that, frankly, I've never heard before, but are sorely needed. Where is the best place for our folks to go to learn more about you?
I would say my website. It's www.lorivella.com, and you'll find something that I put together called Florida Lawyer Online, and that's an academy for Florida residents where they can go and learn more about all of these topics. So I have a series of videos there, estate planning for when you have little kids, or just the difference between a trust and a will. So just go there and get educated, because when you see an attorney, the number one thing that you have for yourself is awareness and education. So anytime you walk into an attorney's office, you want to do your homework first, because you can't compare apples to oranges. You have to really know what you're doing before you step inside, and make sure your needs are taken care of.
All right. Well, this has been Seth Greene with Lori Vella of LoriVella.com. Lori, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. Thanks again to Robert Lehman for the awesome introduction. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.